You're watching Morning at NTV.
Thank you for making us the #1 breakfast show in the country. Before she was appointed as presidential advisor on Kampala, the butt of jokes on Catherine Kusasira's condolence trips to different bereaved people on behalf of the president had her nicknamed Minister of Condolences. Now she and fellow musician Mark Bugembe, aka Butcherman, are presidential advisors and seen by analysts as part of President Yoweri Museveni's strategy to win over the ghetto and end the Bobi Wine threat. But what is this ghetto they keep talking about, and does Bobi Wine own it? Today we have one of the leaders of the People Power Mobilization team, John Baptist Nambeshe, who is also the MP for Manjia County. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Mr. Nambeshe,
yes, please.
It's a beautiful, beautiful pleasure to have you join us. Now, do you think you stand a chance of this onslaught against your base? The president seems like he's bringing all the guns to the ghetto. Do you think you stand a chance of this onslaught against your base?
Why not? As a matter of fact, the president has cracked a very expensive joke and is laughing alone in the NRM party. Because the truth of the matter is all those who know and who have been around all these 34 years know that the likes of Catherine Kusasira and the envoy in the names of Butcherman are not coming on board as a value addition to the party. Far from it. And as a matter of fact, these are hired mercenaries at a fee. They are not joining the party with a conviction like some of us did when we joined the NRM. They are coming because of money. They are being hired to execute a mission of the master. So it is out of panic because of the pressure that people power is mounting on him.
Mr. Nambeshe, what exactly is in the ghetto? What exactly is in the ghetto that has prompted the president to take his fight there?
In the ghetto, what is there is a deplorable state of life. As a matter of fact, the ghetto is not an area or a given location. It is the state, that deplorable state of life that people live. Not only here in Kampala.
So we are not talking about only the people in those small ghettos, but also the urban poor.
Oh yes, the urban poor who have virtually nothing to put on table and have the mass unemployment that is ravaging the whole country. And so if we are talking of the ghetto, it should not be restricted within Kamwcha, Kampala here, but even areas like now the eastern region of Uganda is a ghetto of sorts. Because if you are conducting a survey, and like many have been studies have been conducted on poverty levels, that is at the tail end. So people living in those places, what will he do with them to bring them on board? So the truth of the matter is that he has been around for 34 years in power. One would have asked a fundamental question. Has it just occurred in his mind and heart of hearts that there has been a ghetto? He has been driving all through Kamwcha, through Chisenyi.
At a very fast pace.
Oh yes, with even actually a convoy of vehicles complete with a toilet. And he has been seeing these very poor destitutes. Actually, the life there is of destitutes, of depressed people, disadvantaged people there, actually as poor as a church mouse. And he has been seeing them. So actually, credit should be given by the ghetto people, and they are not fools, to Honorable Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, the one we popularly call Bobi Wine. Because his emergence is hardly 2 years. And
he's already causing a stir.
The philosophy of people power is hardly 2 years. And it is already causing a stir within the purported mass party of NRM.
So this has nothing to do with President Museveni caring for the ghetto, but a political move to garner support ahead of 2021.
Oh yes, he's trying to poke holes in the stronghold of Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu after he declared that is going to vie for presidency come 2021. But it has virtually nothing to do with the caring for the poor or loving them, virtually nothing with love. It has everything to do with trying to struggle to get political mileage, even in that strong. But incidentally, He's forgetting, and I don't know whether he has, and is a consumer of lots of intelligence. And through his intelligence gathering, he should have known that the constituency of Bobi Wine remains intact, strong. And that is his stuff. And it remains strong, solidly behind him.
Solidly behind him.
Yes.
But some people contend that the people power movement is no longer in the ghettos, on the ground. It's now in the mainstream, on the internet.
You know, he used to boast of his vote in the among the peasants in the rural poor, and indeed he had a vote. But as we talk, majority of the voters now, even the rural locations, are the youth, and in a remote location like that of the disaster-prone Bruda, you find the youth are singing people power. They have now realized that change is the way to go, and that wind of change came with the advent of Bobi Wine becoming or declaring to stand under that pressure group of people power.
Bobi, you talked about the Elgon area. Is Elgon an NRM or people power affair? Or FDC?
Elgon, you know, I'm the coordinator, and I know it inside out.
Yeah.
It is now people power. It is red.
Completely. No
yes,
NRM there.
yes, there are pockets of these others, but majority of those now that are actually agitating for change are people power.
A couple of days ago, I saw the NRM secretary right there, Kasula Lumumba, trying to talk to the people of Mbale right there to support the NRM. It seems like they've lost ground. They've actually been losing for a long time in Mbale, so right now it seems like they want to come back and bring you guys back in the loop. Why are you being too stubborn not to go back to the NRM?
Mbale there is not easy.
Don't you want a share of the money? Because the thing right now is if you support the NRM, you'll get some kind of development, projects. If you do not, nothing will come to pass.
No, if it's about the national cake, it must be equitably shared.
Yeah.
And a balanced, equitable distribution of resources is an issue in this ruling government. And that's why most of us actually are at odds with the NRM. I've been in NRM, I'm still there, all right. But we have divergent views because of the inequalities in distribution of resources. So it's not about to do it now. 34 years down the road is enough for someone to know and make a logical conclusion that this man is not about to dish anything to our regions that have been marginalized and actually incapacitated like Eastern Uganda. In fact, the sound question one would ask critically would be Eastern Uganda, like the sub-region of Bugisu. If we are at the national sharing of the national cake, so to speak, are we also diners and winers, or we are merely under the table waiting for grams to pick? Because we are at the tail end. When you measure the index
it must be the latter.
Of poverty,
Yes.
all these indices, including academic performance, if you go to UPE, USC, it is Bonavazanye.
So right now, the People Power movement is not looking at the crumbs NRM is willing to throw at them, but changing the government as a whole to improve service delivery.
Seriously so, indeed. That's what we are even asking, that the likes of the people in the ghetto, the so-called president, the newly appointed president, special envoy, Butcherman, should be asking, should be looking more at how much of the social services will be delivered. Not about positions and the huge sums of money that is splashing on them. But the truth of the matter is keenly observe whether there will be any services delivered to these disadvantaged poor who are marginalized.
So money is being splashed on these two, Butcherman and Kusasira, and not the ghetto people. So does this actually mean that these people actually are caring for their own interests and the people they represent?
Yes, it is about them looking for their own, selfishly. Yes, using these ghetto people, the poor, as a formidable weapon to achieve their selfish ends. Because this is not the first time. The president tried to give himself, he was carrying sacks of money before he now thought of appointing these envoys. And at a cost. He has done this at, I thought, he would be advised by other advisors. He has over 150 of them, whom he advises anyway. We know this. And at the cost of the taxpayers' money.
Yes.
Because if he had just appointed them to be on an advisory board within the party, it would be understandable. But by the way, this has even exacerbated matters in the party.
Explain.
The seniors in the party are even crying more. They say, we have been here serving you.
How does Butcherman come
Butcherman out of the blues comes and falls into the thick of things when we are here. So this lopsided treatment, of even if we needed them anyway, but honestly, are they coming out of conviction? Far from it. They are looking at money.
But Mr. Nambesha, you've had Mark Bugembe, aka Butcherman, come out to say, but Nang, this is not about politics. I'm actually here to talk about the problems of the ghetto because he has been there and he has been seeing the suffering of the people. And he actually says right now, Bagena Kubama and Sida, they'll give them the money that they need. So when I hear him talk about that, I'm a little bit convinced 50-50 that, hey, maybe, no, it could be about development of the ghetto. What do you think?
No, he has to protect his where the bread where it is buttered most, and he has definitely to switch talk.
Yeah.
In order to continue to get to see from the man who has appointed him. Virtually, he has to look positive, but it's like a coating of porridge. Watch it. On top, it is cold, but if you sip it in a hurry, there is hell under it.
Yes.
Let him not think the people in the ghetto are fools. They received sacks of money, but they remained paying allegiance to their president, their real president, not this pseudo president. There are two now. The Bobi Wine is the real actual president. This one is a pseudo one, like an amoeba, or rather this amoeba which has false feet. It's not dependable. And he has to switch talk. He's appointing authority to continue getting whatever he's aiming at.
So, Mr. Nambeshe, can the People Power Mobilization Team take on Butcherman and Kusasida and win?
No, we don't need to, because these, in any case, have not come out to accuse Bobi Wine on anything. They have not even condemned him anyway. Are you aware that they are still even working together? You know, they may appear in broad daylight as if they are with the appointing authority. But under the umbrella of darkness, they are back home. And home, you know. So we cannot even bother to go fighting them. No. In fact, any time soon, they will see the light. And they will even face it rough from the ghetto people themselves. Because soon, they are awake. They will get to know that these people are merely using them to achieve their own selfish ends. So
are you absolutely certain that you have the ghetto under lock and key?
Oh, yes, we do. Countrywide, not mere, you know, the president has been losing all through and through in Kampala. He tried. Now you even wonder, why are we losing huge sums of money to the structures of KCCA? KCCA had to appoint the executive director who actually backs about over 40 million shillings a month. And there are other fringe benefits, which at the cost of the taxpayer, at the expense of the taxpayer. And there are other, like we have how many ministers? 1, 2, 3. Now you appoint another minister, Catherine Kusasira. Then you appoint even a Butcherman from the same location. Kampala alone has how many political appointees who are actually earning from the central, the consolidated fund of the taxpayer. So one wonders, even when he had appointed the likes of Musisi, the performance here was dismally very bad, terrible. It was terribly beaten, hands down. And now it will even be worse, because the boys and girls of the ghetto have realized that now the handshake has gone beyond the elbow. And so no more jokes. This time round, they will show him more dust, and he will not like the repercussions.
So you have the ghetto under lock and key. That has been answered very well. And one would ask, if you have the ghetto under lock and key, is it the only demographic you're looking at to transform 70 come 2021, or do you have other plans? And if any, break some of them.
No, we have sympathizers, and you know what has helped People Power is our luminary, Honorable Robert Chagulanyi Sentamo, being turned into a victim because of the torture. He has been battered, and even he has attracted international focus. Even in Kenya, MPs were demonstrating. Now it is not only this particular demographic
but those international players, they
but even the local ones here, the senior citizens, we receive so many. In fact, once the world loves a victim, our people, the senior citizens have interacted with, they see Bobi Wine as a victim. And the system itself, because of torture and having a partisan security force that quells the protests, which are actually peaceful and constitutional, with violence, using violence to achieve their end, it has helped Bobi Wine to become a victim. And a victim is always sympathized with. So we'll have lots of sympathy from all sections and the populace, all strata of the populace of the Republic of Uganda, even the diaspora, by the way.
Wow.
You remember the false accusation he has been peddling,
yes,
a pack of white lies that, you know, why Uganda is not receiving enough investors because the enemy of progress in Uganda is Bobi Wine. 2 years down the road, not even 2 years, you have been around 34 years, you have failed to deliver on growth and development, and you blame it on a young man who has been favored like David in the Bible. He has just emerged and is loved all over. Even in the remotest, like Buddha, he's loved. When I took him there, when he was delivering some food and non-food items to the IDPs, the survivors of landslides, the whole Buddha was ecstatic. People, even not only Buddha, but they even made roadblocks. So this is a young man who is so favored, I must say, by divine appointment. And so now he's panicking. Yeah. He's panicking. We have other opposition members, leaders here. But see, all the focus now is concentrated on fighting Bobi Wine, even trying to poke holes in the ghetto, but he will not manage.
Well, according to the NRM government, they're saying that the reason why they actually decided to seek the services of Butcherman and Kusasida was because they tried to engage Mr. Bobi Wine, because he knows everything in the ghetto, but he had refused to tell them what actually are the problems in the ghetto. For him, he was too focused on removing the government in power. That's why they chose to get his deputy, who actually was his eyes and ears on the ground while he was always away. What do you make of that? No, President Museveni, if you have observed him keenly like I've done, he has perfected the art of divide and rule. He knew very well that in the ranking of president and vice, if he paid this one who is so greedy, some money, he will go and pick the money. But that does not remove the fact that the people in the ghetto know very well and give credit to Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine, even if he is a product of the ghetto, God had seen him through. He had prospered through his music industry. And he was like a Nehemiah. Nehemiah in the Bible was living with the king, was doing well. But because of the care and the love, that burning desire to liberate his people, the Israelites, who were in bondage, he left the comfort in the palace and came to build the wall for maximum protection and security of the Israelites who were being marginalized and who were being tortured. So equally, Bobi Wine was doing well. If he would have decided to live in the comfort of what he had actually amassed through the music industry, he's a wealthy man. But he chose to actually sacrifice all this on behalf of the people who are disadvantaged, who are actually the vulnerable, and whose levels of vulnerability 34 years down the road have kept worsening up to now. So there is virtually nothing that President Museveni will convince the people in the ghetto and the people living in or wallowing in abject poverty with these appointments of convoys. What is the trickle-down effect? What do we see trickling down from these appointments of Butcherman? The trickle-down effect, where we're having this banter with Honorable Mr. Nambeshi right there. He's on the mobilization team of the People Power Movement. But right about now, Mr. Nambeshi, according to the figures that you've accrued from the ghettos, do you think you have enough support in the ghettos to help you transform Museveni come 2021? Because we have analysts like Dr. Bwenje, who says that Mr. Bobi Wine is politically immature and People Power doesn't have the structures to transform Museveni. What do you make of that?
No, the pessimists and the cynics like Dr. Bwenja are entitled to their opinion. But the truth of the matter is that right from inception, when we got the data after that survey was done by Dr. Wakida, you saw the performance of the Honorable Bobi Wine was very high, and it is going to be high. But equally, you remember when President Museveni came around in the 80s, he was dismissed as a passing cloud. But you now can see the 34 years down the road, he has been a jack of all trades.
So this time you think you have a chance?
Equally Trump.
Yeah.
Trump was wished away as a passing cloud. Didn't even get a popular vote. But it is political will. That is a silver bullet.
Yes.
That is required for someone to discharge the function of the presidency. But not that one has to be a professor or one has to hold a PhD. No, we have
so you don't need 30
examples
years
of good
experience,
leaders.
you just need political will.
You need that strong political will like the Honorable Bobi Wine Chagulanyi.
John Baptist
Robert
Nambeshe.
Chagulanyi
John
has.
Baptist Nambeshe is one of the leaders right there on the People Power Mobilization team. Thank you very much for having made the time to speak to us.
Welcome.
Amazing. So he says that Bobi Wine does stand a chance because he has the political will and he doesn't need the experience. You just need the political will to help your community in that regard, and that's what makes you a real leader, not the experience you've spent in politics. Right about now, we've come to the end of this show. My name is Romeo Busiku. I'll be back here tomorrow same time, 6:30 a.m. all the way to 9 a.m. And a little bit later during our lunchtime news at NTV at 1. That is at 1 p.m. See you tomorrow. Have yourselves a blessed day and please take care.